acknowledge that we were founded on the traditional territory of many nations, including the Haudenosaunee, the Anishinaabe, the Attawandaronk, the Mississauga and Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation, and now live on land that is home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people. We have many representatives working across this land now known as Ontario, and we acknowledge that there are 46 treaties and other agreements that cover the territory. We are grateful to be able to work and live on this land, and thankful to the First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people who have cared for these territories since time immemorial, and who continue to contribute to the strength of Ontario and to all communities across the province. To continue to center reconciliation, we encourage our team, partners, students, and teachers to take time to learn about the lands they are currently on. Visit native-land.ca for more information.
All right, hello everyone, and welcome to our Hazelnut Farm virtual food and farm field trip. So I'm Madison from AgScape, and together with Farm and Food Care, we're so glad that you're here with us to celebrate Ontario Agriculture Week one more time. So we got something truly awesome lined up today because we're going to learn all about the crunchy, delicious crop that is in Ontario, the hazelnut. So today we're going to meet Amanda, an expert farmer from the Nutty Neighbours in Smithville, Ontario. So Amanda and her family are going to take us on a tour of their beautiful farm and explain why hazelnuts are awesome. So as always, please feel free to add any questions in the chat. We would love to hear from you, hear where you're joining in from, what your class, what your school is called, all that kind of good stuff, and what you're curious about. Okay, so without further ado, here is Amanda and her family. I will let her take over and introduce herself.
Good morning, everyone. I hope everyone has had a wonderful day so far. My name is Amanda Pilat, and I am very excited to welcome you to our hazelnut farm called the Nutty Neighbours. My husband and I run this farm with our 3 children. I'm going to flip around our camera here. There we go. My son Tyler, who is 14, is in high school, so he's not able to join us today. But we do have...
Hi, my name is Dylan. I'm 11 years old, and I would like to say hello to Mr. Bell's class. My favorite part about the hazelnut farm is the beautiful trees we raised.
We also have...
Hi, my name is Isabel. I'm 7 years old. I'd like to say hello to Miss Glad's class. My favorite part about the farm is the hazelnuts.
All right, and I'm going to show you this map of Ontario that we've got out so that you know where we are. There's beautiful Ontario. I heard some of you are from Cornwall, which is way over here. And some of you are from Chatham, which is way down here. And we are right in between Lake Ontario and Lake Erie, right about here in West Lincoln, Ontario, or also known as Smithville. That's where we are coming to you from today. As Madison said, please feel free to ask any questions along the way. We'd love to hear from you. So here we are out in our field. Show you a picture of the whole thing if I can. We have a 10-acre hazelnut farm, and that is about 2,700 trees. And it goes all the way back to the forest at the back.
Hazelnuts actually go on a bush, not a tree. They just trim that way so the machinery can get up close to harvest.
That's right. So hazelnuts, here's one of our little trees. They start their journey more than a year before they get harvested. During the summer, these tiny little green things are called catkins, and they start to form. So these are the pollen for next year's hazelnuts. They go into hibernation during the winter and often get completely covered in ice. There's a picture of that because I can't show you the ice, which is great. I'm glad we don't have ice right now. And then in the spring, they start to grow again, and we call that elongation. Dylan has a picture of that as well. So they get long, and then they open up, and a lot like a mini pine cone, and golden yellow pollen comes out of them.
Hazelnuts are pollinated by wind, not bees.
Hazelnuts pollinate very early in the spring before bees even get moving for the year. The pollen blows from one variety of hazelnut over to another variety, and they land on these teeny tiny flowers, which you can see in this picture right beside the catkin, or a close-up picture. And these flowers are smaller than your pinky fingernail. Once that flower gets pollinated, it goes from a nice red color to shriveled up and black.
Then you don't really see anything for a couple months.
So the hazelnuts develop all summer long in husks. We have over on this tree. Oh, Dylan's got one like this. And here we go. So they develop all summer long in the husks and get harvested in the fall. It's right in the middle of harvest season right now. We have 3 varieties harvested and 2 more to go. Not all varieties are ready at the same time. So it takes several weeks to get harvesting done. Sometimes they grow as a single nut, and sometimes they grow in clusters. Izzy's going to point out to you some nuts that are still on the tree. Right here. These guys are still on the tree, getting ready. There we go. There's a big cluster up there if you can see it. Yep, Izzy's got it there. When they're ready to harvest, the husks get dry and the nut starts to move around in the husk. Someone Dylan here. Then they drop to the orchard floor like this. See some that are ready. We're going to take you over to our harvesters now. This was our very first harvester. Come on over here, Dylan. This is called the Nut Wizard. And it's just like a long pole with a little basket on the end. And then you roll the basket and it picks up the nut. That was our very first harvester, but now that we have over 2,000, almost 3,000 trees, that wasn't working for us anymore. So we just bought this brand new harvester. This beautiful guy right here. Show you inside. These black paddles down here. These black paddles go around and they pick up the nuts and they throw them up onto this bed here. Then all the nuts fall through these holes. And anything that's big, any big sticks or leaves, they travel along this and get thrown out the back, like grass as well. Then the nuts go down here. You can see there's an auger underneath, and they travel along the auger to the side, and then there's another auger up here. You can see that in here. So they go up this, and then they fall into our bin right here. Then we bring our bins back to the barn. and they go in our dryer boxes. It's very important to dry the hazelnuts, otherwise they will go moldy. And then after we dry the nuts themselves, they go into our washer. This is our washer. The nuts go in here. And then the cleaning solution comes from here. And this rotates. I don't think I can get it to go. That rotates and the nuts go around and around and around and get nice and clean. Then we open this chute and they all come out here. Just like that. After we wash them, we use our cracker, which is in the barn, and a sorter to get all the shells gone. And we sort them by hand as well to get anything that is not perfect out of our crop.
Okay, here's something.
Then we sell them to restaurants and confectionery companies and bakeries. And we eat some ourselves. And anybody that wants to drop by the farm. Here's our farm dog. Everyone loves a good farm dog. That's Zoe. And Zoe loves hazelnuts too. She's actually learned how to crack a hazelnut open by herself with her teeth.
Nice.
So she cracks it open with her teeth and then she puts the shell down and just picks up the hazelnut part.
I got that one straight from the farm a few seconds ago.
I
That's the
love
one you
that.
picked up.
That's one
Amanda, just gonna jump in here. We have a couple questions if that's okay. So far, everything has looked
Perfect.
awesome, and I hope everyone's learning a lot about hazelnuts. But we have one from Alice, and she's wondering, what varieties do you grow?
That is a great question, Alice. We grow 5 varieties. They are called Yamhill, Jefferson, Jean, Gamma, and Carmela. And they each have their own unique traits to them, size and shape, and they even have a slightly different flavor.
This is a hazelnut outside, inside of its shell.
Outside of the shell. You got the shell off for that one.
Well, yeah, this is what's inside of it.
Where's the
tastes
shell?
super good.
And this is the shell that it came out of.
Amazing. So you got to peel them, kind of. And then we have another question here. How do you plant hazelnuts or hazelnut trees?
So when you get a hazelnut tree or bush, as we learned, it's usually about 2 feet tall, maybe 1 to 2 feet. And you have to dig a hole that's as big as the root ball. And then you put the roots down into the hole and you fill it back with the dirt. And there's something called a root collar, which is the change from the trunk portion of the tree to the root part of the tree. And you want to make sure the root collar is above the ground. It doesn't like to be underneath the ground. And that's how you know how deep to plant one. And then I usually put a stake beside the tree and a tree tube around it to protect it for the first couple of years. Because I'll tell you, rabbits like to eat little fresh leaves and so do deer. So we have to protect our trees for the first couple of years so they don't get eaten before they become actual trees.
That makes a lot of sense. And that actually kind of goes into our next question from Laura from Carmel New Church School in Kitchener. They would like to know, how do you keep the squirrels from eating all your hazelnuts?
Ooh, great question, Laura. And hi, everybody at Carmel New Church School in Kitchener. We have family out that way. We were just there for Thanksgiving weekend. There are many different types of ways that farmers keep squirrels from hazelnuts. Some try cages around, which doesn't work because we have almost 3,000 of them. Some of them put out traps to try and trap the squirrel, but we actually don't do anything at all. Enough that we end up sharing the wildlife and getting enough for ourselves. That's what we're doing at the moment.
Okay. So you don't try to get those squirrels away. You just, oh, looks like Amanda just disappeared for a second, but I'm sure she'll be back and logged in. Great questions, everyone. Please keep them coming in the chat. I know Amanda would love to hear from them. And I did forget to mention at the beginning that there is a treat that often includes hazelnuts that everyone might have heard of, and that is Nutella. So that is chocolate and hazelnut spread. So I'm sure many of you have probably tried that before, but that is a very common hazelnut treat. Hi, Amanda. Are you back?
Sorry, we're back.
That's okay. I was just telling them about how I forgot to mention that Nutella is a very common hazelnut treat that they might have heard of before.
Yes, we eat a lot of chocolate hazelnut spread here at home, and there are lots of different companies that make chocolate hazelnut spreads.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, we have some more questions. Do you want to show us how you crack a hazelnut, and then we can go into more questions?
Show them how they crack one on this.
This is a hand cracker. You just put it in here.
Squeeze. Oh. And there it comes out.
Well, this one's not that big.
That one's a tiny guy.
But I'll give it to Izzy.
But you got to make sure that you keep your fingers out of the way, right, guys?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. We've pinched a finger or two.
Oh, yeah. I pinched one today just now.
But it's worth it because they're delicious and very
Dang.
nutritious.
This is a big one.
Hazelnuts are a great source of protein and vitamin E.
Oh, that's great to know.
And selenium.
Yum.
Amazing. Well, this question kind of goes along with our talk about hazelnut spread here. This is from the top tutor. Do you use hazelnuts to make any foods or treats at home?
No.
Well, I like to eat them raw. Lots of people like to roast them or toast them or make them into other things, but I like them just as they are, just as the kids are scarfing them down in front of everybody. For Dylan's birthday, we were out camping and we didn't get home until late. So we weren't going to make a cake until the next weekend for his birthday party. So he asked for pancakes for dinner, and my oldest son made him a little tiny pancake with Nutella, and he chopped up hazelnuts and sprinkled them on top as a birthday treat.
That sounds delicious.
They're also great if you put them in your salad.
I can
Little
see that.
crunch.
Yeah.
Can you
Amazing. Okay, we have some more questions here. How many hazelnut bushes do you plant in a year?
So we haven't planted any for the past couple of years. We planted from starting in 2016. So that was before Izzy was even born. And we planted every year until 2020. One year we planted 1,500 trees in one weekend. And boy, was I exhausted.
Wow.
I won't be doing that again anytime soon. The last trees that we planted in 2021 are our very last row are a set of research trees that we've planted for our friends at Grimo Nut Nursery. So what they do is they take two varieties that have characteristics that they really, really like, and they make them pollinate each other. And then they take those nuts, because nuts are great for eating, but they are actually seeds. So you can plant these nuts if they're still fresh and grow a new tree. But you don't know what kind of tree you're going to get because it's pollinated by two different varieties. Just like you have two parents and you have siblings that have similar characteristics but don't look exactly the same. So we're going to grow these trees for the next 15 to 20 years and see what happens. And if any of these varieties are better than either of their parent varieties, then they get to have their own cultivar name. So Linda said if one of our 50 research trees that we planted for her works out, we get to choose the name. And I'm really excited about that.
That's very cool. I really hope it works out and you can name that soon. We actually have a question about pollination, speaking of. This is from Lorraine from Sudbury. So do you need 2 trees to pollinate, or can you just plant 1 tree?
Great question, Lorraine. You would think that 1 tree would work out because, as you saw in our picture, every tree has both catkins and flowers. So why can't they pollinate themselves? Well, they actually need to have 2 trees that are different varieties. And you can find that out from the nut nursery that you buy your trees from. They have to have different what's called alleles, which are parts of a gene to make them compatible. So they are not self-pollinating, they do cross-pollinate. And so you definitely need at least 2 trees. I would get 5 so that you're sure that your trees are compatible.
That's very cool. Amazing. We have a question from MG Hobbs in Bowmanville. So how many hazelnuts do you farm per year?
Oh, I have no idea. Thousands, tens, hundreds of thousands, millions, maybe. Our farm is not fully grown. It'll still take another few years until our trees are full grown. Each tree can produce about 10 pounds of hazelnuts once they're mature. So we could end up with 25,000 pounds of hazelnuts. And if your teacher puts her hands together, like she's holding a mini watermelon, that's about how big a pound of hazelnuts looks like. Wow. And then 25,000 of those.
How about say each tree, it has 5 nuts on it, and there's 27,000 trees.
2,700 trees. There's a math lesson for you guys for later.
Yeah, I was trying to do mental math there, and it just wasn't happening.
That would be a lot of hazelnuts.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Okay, another question here. How big do your bushes grow?
So that depends on the variety of tree. Different trees grow to different heights, but they're usually 10 to 15 feet tall. So I am about 5'4", and so our trees will get twice as tall as me. Or if you have someone in your life that's 6 feet tall, about twice as tall as them.
That is tall.
And some trees grow up like this, nice and tall, and some trees grow out like this. So some of them are more wide and some of them are more tall, depending on the variety. I showed you some of our younger trees because those are the ones that still have nuts on them that we haven't harvested yet.
So when is your harvest season?
Again, that depends on the variety of hazelnut and the location. For us, our harvest this year started 2 weeks ago, and it will finish 2 weeks from now.
Okay, perfect. And if someone here wanted to buy some Ontario grown hazelnuts, where might they go, or do they have to find a local farmer? Where would they find some hazelnuts?
So there is something called the Ontario Hazelnut Association, which I also work for. If you go on to our website at www.ontariohazelnuts.com or .ca, You'll get lots more information about hazelnuts, where they can grow, how they grow, our nutritional information, and you'll also find a tab that says growers. These are members of the OHA that have given us their contact information, and they're on the website, and they are free to contact, and you can find one in your area, because we do have farmers down in the Essex County, the Chatham, Leamington, all the way up to Uxbridge, Ontario, which is pretty far north, in Kingston, and all the way down here in Niagara. There's lots of farms. London has a big farm as well. So you're able to find farms near you on the website, and you can contact them. Many of them are super open to giving you farm tours for real in person as well, if you want to go on a class trip or take your family.
That's amazing. All right. So we can just we only have time for a couple more questions, if that's okay. If you want to show us or talk about anything else on your farm, feel free to share it now, and then we'll have to, wrap up in a couple minutes.
I will take any more questions that are available.
Perfect. All right. Let's see what we have here. So do you have to water the trees?
Another good question. We watered the trees a lot when they were young. We actually have an underground drip irrigation system. So we have these little tubes that go all along the side of every tree, and we turn it on when they were little to make sure they got enough water. But hazelnuts like a lot of water when they're growing the nut, but they don't like to sit in water. So you have to be careful about how much water they get. You have to have nice draining soil. So we did that a lot when they were young, and now we only turn on our irrigation if it's been a really dry summer.
Okay. Perfect. How far apart do you plant the bushes / trees?
Oh, Lorraine's got lots of great questions. So my rows are about 15 feet apart, and the trees within the row are about 9 feet apart. This is called double density planting. Hazelnuts start to produce on your trees at about year 4, and so you can get lots of nuts on these small trees. Once they grow to full size, typically farmers take out every other tree. So they end up 15 feet by 18 feet apart. And that gives them room to be a fully grown tree. But they plant them double density so you can get an income on the trees, on the nuts sooner.
That makes sense.
So there's 2 answers to that.
Awesome. Here we go. Aside from squirrels, what other wildlife do your hazelnuts attract?
Blue jays.
Oh yeah.
I didn't see a single blue jay when we moved up to this area until we planted hazelnuts. And boy, do those guys love hazelnuts. We see so many blue jays, and we get blue jay feathers, and those are super cool. Also deer. Deer love the trees. They like to eat the fresh, the shoots that come out in the spring, and they love to rub their antlers on our trees as well. We also get squirrels and chipmunks, and mice and rats like them as well. Oh, and wild turkeys. Wild turkeys like hazelnuts too.
Ooh, that's fun.
The tiny one.
That is tiny. Are they delicious? Yeah. Awesome. Okay, and then I have one final question for you, and then we can say goodbye to everyone watching and our last kind of thoughts. So, how did you become a hazelnut farmer, and how could I become one if I wanted to?
I was waiting for this question. So I actually never intended on farming. My husband is the one for the love of farming. And he is also a very creative guy. So he thought about very different types of farming. Out here, we're usually corn, wheat, and soybeans because of our clay soil. He thought about Christmas trees and landscaping trees and walnuts. So for one Father's Day, I wanted to get him a walnut tree. And I Googled Nut Tree Ontario. I didn't know where to buy them. And we ended up at Grimo Nut Nursery in Niagara on the Lake. Niagara on the Lake is beautiful, so we went for a Father's Day picnic. And that was when Dylan was really, really little and Izzy wasn't even born yet. And we were at Grimo Nut Nursery for about 3 hours looking at all the things that they have there. They're very passionate about what they do. And so we went for one walnut tree and we left with walnut trees, pecans, hickories, and hazelnuts, and an invitation to the Ontario Hazelnut Association's annual symposium. And now I work for the OHA and I'm the one who organizes that symposium. So we are fully involved in hazelnut farming now. If you would like to become a hazelnut farmer, you can go to the OHA's website, again, www.ontariohazelnuts.com, and you can find information there.
Amazing. I love that story. It was kind of an accident that you became a hazelnut farmer.
It was.
I love that so much. Okay, well, I think that brings us to the end of our tour. I want to say thank you so much, Amanda and family, Nutty Neighbours, for taking us on this amazing tour of a hazelnut farm. It's not something you typically think about maybe when you think about Ontario agriculture, but it's definitely an important part, and we hope it kind of grows even bigger than it is. So is there anything you would all like to say to everyone watching before we sign off today?
We are so glad that you guys were able to join us today and learn about hazelnut farming in Ontario, because lots of people don't even know that we can grow this very unique and delicious crop. So go home and tell your families and friends that yes, you can grow in Ontario. And happy Agriculture Week to everybody. And a special shout out to Gainsborough School in St. Anne's. Don't worry, Izzy and Dylan are coming to class in just a few minutes, Miss Comfort.
That's perfect. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming. Happy Ontario Agriculture Week. And I'm sure we will see all of you again at another virtual farm tour. And hopefully I can get down to the Nutty Neighbours and see you guys all in person at some point. All right.
Anytime.
Hey, sorry.
Bye.
Bye.